Hello everyone, this is a little tutorial to show you how to make the NHS hairbands that can have face masks attached. I gather that the face masks, the elastic behind the ears, is a bit uncomfortable, so by having a hairband, a stretchy hairband over the top of your head with two largish buttons just behind the ears means that the face mask can loop around that and it's much more comfortable to wear. There are various designs for these. I have seen them made with woven cotton fabric and people have put elastic in the base so it holds snugly behind the back. I've been making mine with jersey knit, cotton jersey knit fabric. It's nice and soft and it's got a bit of stretch and they're just really quick to run up, so I can make quite a few of them. I'll show you the fabric I'll be using today. I ordered this with the rainbow theme that's going around at the moment, the children's rainbows in windows. I thought it would be nice to have some rainbow fabric. So here it is. This has actually got four-way stretch, so it's stretchy both ways. It's really soft, mostly cotton, really nice to use. What you need to cut is, I have suggested 20 inches length by 6 inches across, and then that's plenty big enough. You want to cut it so if you are using stretchy fabric, the greatest stretch is that way, lengthways, so it can stretch to go around the head. I'm going to be using an overlocker just for speed, and it's good on knit fabrics. And my sewing machine isn't great on sewing knits, but if you haven't got an overlocker, you could have a go at using a regular sewing machine, but use a zigzag stitch. You might need to drop the tension down a bit, and if you've got a jersey ballpoint machine needle, that would help as well, but give it a go. Obviously with these we're not aiming for perfect finish, real neatness and accuracy, it's just functional and comfortable for the people wearing them. So I've cut out several lengths strips, and I find it easier to make them up in batches, so do all one seam on all of them and then go back and do the next stage on all of them. I'll show you one that I've almost finished to show you what they look like. So there's the stretchy hairband which goes round. The seam is finished inside, and then all that remains for that one is to sew on a couple of buttons, one there and one the other side there, for the straps of the mask. Okay, so let's make a start on making them. So I've got one I prepared earlier, one strip already clipped up. You might be happy just holding it, but if you are a newer sewer or want to clip or pin, by all means do that. So I've just clipped, because it does have a tendency to roll round at the edges. So I've clipped my long strip right sides together, so that's the wrong side of the fabric showing on the outside. And I'm going to stitch the long open length, but leaving open 2 inches at the top and 2 inches at the bottom about. So I'm going to start a bit from the top, show you here, close to the top, 2 inches from the top, sew all the way down, stopping 2 inches from the bottom. I'll pause it now while I do that and then come back to you. Right, so I've sewn my tube right sides together. I've overlocked it, you'll see there, left a bit open here and a bit open here. Finish it whichever way you do normally on an overlocker. I just tend to, if it's not being shown, just knot the ends, just to stop it unravelling. If you're using a regular sewing machine, remember your lock stitch beginning and end, so a few stitches forward, a few back to secure it, and then sew your length. So that's ready to turn inside out now, so I'll do that. Thankfully this isn't too big a job. When you're turning out long thin tubes it can take a long time, but this is wide enough to be able to get your hand in, so it's not such a palaver. Right, so that's it right sides out with the seam hidden inside. Now we want to sew the two short ends together. So what you want to do is have your long seam that you've just sewn flat down on the table or underneath. Lift up your two outer ends and put the two ends together, right sides facing each other, and then line up your ends like that. So you'll see I've got the right sides of the fabric facing each other, and then I'm going to sew across that short end. So I'll do that now and come back in a moment. Okay, so I've sewn my short ends together, right sides facing each other, and then again I've just tied each end in a knot. If you're using a sewing machine, just be careful not to stretch the fabric too much as you're sewing, because it will go a bit baggy. And then remember your lock stitch to finish if you're using a sewing machine. So when you've done that, you just tuck that end in, and you're almost there with the machine stitching, and you'll see that excuse me, you'll see that we're just left with that opening that we left, the 2 inches either end, that we need to sew up. Now if I were doing this neatly for a perfect finish, I would press those under, press the seam allowance under, and then hand stitch the opening closed, and then you can make your seam virtually invisible. For speed, just because I want to get a lot of these made to get them out, I'm just going to overlock over the top of that gap, which will still be comfortable to wear, and actually the seam will be hidden under the hair at the back, so you won't see it. So I'll do that now and then show you in a moment. Right, so I've sewn my gap closed there, and again tied the ends either side. Again, that's not the most neat option, but just for speed, that's how I'm doing it now. And then your hairband is ready. So what I do is I press it flat, fold it flat, so that that seam you've just sewn is in the middle inside, like that, so you don't see it when it's squashed flat. Just squash it quickly. It's hidden inside, so there's the hairband, and then when it's worn, that last seam is just hidden under the nape of the neck. So the only thing that remains for that is to sew the buttons on. So I'll show you where I put them. So here's the hairband. I've been using decent size buttons just to make sure that the mask elastic doesn't ping round them. These are 1 inch across, and I've been putting them, if I put the hairband flat with the short seam at one end, I've been putting them 4 inches up from the seam both sides. So hand stitching one there and one the other side, hand stitching through all the layers just to get it nice and secure. I won't do that now because it'll take a little time. That's the slowest bit actually, but then you're done. So lovely rainbow stretchy scarf for our fantastic NHS workers. If you've got any queries or questions, please do message me. Very happy to do my best to help. If you want to know how to contact me, look me up on Facebook, Made by Rachel Chudley. You should be able to find me. So happy sewing, and thank you for all you're doing. Bye.